Hey guys, it's Piper. I ran this poll on Twitter for what my next video topic would be, and I want to thank everyone who voted. The winner was a story time about when my first ever roommate in college tried to murder me. I'm not exaggerating, by the way. She straight up tried to murder me. I wish this was clickbait. Well, I guess it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, like I said, she didn't do a very good job. So this takes place after the Great Bender of 2015, where I spent 6 months wasted to forget a traumatic experience that got me de facto expelled from my last college and woke up next to a novel I barely remember writing. I decided to go back to college and major in creative writing instead of math so I could polish this turd, which is coming out this fall, by the way. Shauna, not her real name, she knows about Piper Sweeney, and I don't want to get blackmailed. Again. That's another story. So Shauna and I were paired together as roommates by a random matchup. When I met Shauna, she immediately disapproved of me, and I immediately disapproved of her. I was stuck in this phase I won't waste too much time describing, where I figured if I was perfect, maybe someone would love me, blah blah, shut up, Piper. It was before I went to therapy, and my therapist helped me realize I was NB, blah blah, so I ignored my gender dysphoria, wore a shit ton of makeup, and wore these dressy designer clothes that I secretly got at discount stores and clearance racks. Meanwhile, she was dowdy and too cool and real for California and tried to escape from LA by moving out into the country in the middle of nowhere, only to have to room with this LA ginger Barbie wannabe. My words, by the way, not hers. Unfortunately, we couldn't avoid each other because we were both creative writing majors and we had Creative Writing 101 together. My luck, right? Backing up a little, I remember typing in at least 2 fields in my roommate application that I was allergic to perfume. The words I used were deathly allergic, in all caps, but I had attended this school previously and I knew how incompetent the staff were. So one of the first things I asked my roommate was if the staff informed her about my allergies, and unsurprisingly the answer was no. I didn't want to risk her, not taking my allergies seriously, so I told her that it would kill me, which is a slight exaggeration or maybe a lie by omission. It makes it very difficult to breathe, and prolonged exposure to too much fragrance, it would absolutely kill me, but my breathing goes back to normal after I've gone away from it for a while. The problem is the fluid that builds up in my ears, because it has taken multiple years to go away in the past when it was sprayed on me, and doctors wouldn't drain it, so there was nothing I could do about it. And having fluid in your ears, well, in my case, it made me dizzy, it blurred my vision, it caused vertigo, double vision, sometimes triple vision. It looks kind of like this. So basically, it turns my life into a woozy panic attack that isn't really worth living. But I already did a video on that, so moving on. She said she used all natural, handmade hippie things anyway. Again, my words. And she let me do a sniff test, and I confirmed that all her toiletries were coincidentally unscented and would not kill me. The first thing I noticed about Shauna, aside from how dowdy she was, because I'm pretty shallow, whatever, was how pretentious she was. She was always bragging about her grades, what a great writer she was, how she made the dean's list, how talentless everyone else in our class was, how stupid everyone in our area is, blah 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 blah. And she was saying all this fake deep shit all the time, claiming she'd rather dance to a song that has nice lyrics than a nice beat. You can't dance to lyrics, don't lie to me, bitch. Whatever. I'm too lax to put up with that kind of shit, so I just tried my best to ignore her, or at worst, annoy her by coming back to our dorm drunk off my ass and saying nonsensical shit until she left to study somewhere else because she couldn't tolerate me. So, basically, we were both pretty terrible roommates before all this. I also pretended to be a complete airhead because I knew, 1, she was so pretentious that it would drive her crazy if she found out I was smarter than her, and 2, to avoid her deep, faux intellectual conversations that bored me to tears. Oh, and 3, I just have that nasty habit of pretending to be stupid in general because I'm laid back and I find it exhausting when people act like I'm some kind of mega genius who's gonna cure bipolar disorder or something. Can't a queer just relax? Anyway, thanks to her desperation to be the smartest person in the room, she was fully convinced that I was a dumbass and didn't bother with me much. Hooray, low-key Machiavellianism. So, moving forward a little. Creative Writing 101. we started peer review workshops. This involved writing a short story, printing out a copy for every student in the class, which ended up costing me a lot of money I didn't have, but I digress, and playing like we were editors. Over the semester, each of us wrote 2 short stories. The professor also appointed one student to lead each session, and that leader had to read their critique out loud to the entire class. And because he loved chaos, he decided to pick me to lead Shauna's critique, fully knowing that I was her roommate. I'm sure you know where this is going. As you all know, I have the tendency to be blunt and kind of a dick, and if you've read my Goodread reviews, you know that I can be pretty scathing. But when it comes to works that haven't been published yet, I'm a lot more constructive. Shauna was not published, obviously, but she also acted like she was a genius, and I was not about to go easy on her, just to spare her feelings, and it's not like I want someone to go easy on me when they're critiquing me. I mean, it's better to be roasted when I can still fix it than get a 1-star review when it's too late. I see no value in giving insincere compliments, and if you did a piss poor job, I'm gonna tell you you did a piss poor job. Well, okay, maybe not directly, because I'm not a complete asshole, just like a half asshole. A half's-hole, if you will. Because saying I like it is not advice, and it's not constructive. The whole point of critique is telling someone what's wrong so they can fix it and improve. Otherwise, you are doing them a great disservice. And although she and I didn't get along, I didn't want to give her pussy-ass shit garbage advice, especially not since the professor had seen my critiques before and would know if I was holding back. So I led her workshop the way I would lead anyone else's. Now, maybe the professor knew I'd knock her down a peg, and that's why he assigned me to lead the critique. Or maybe he liked her and wanted her to be paired with the only student who had already completed a novel, so she'd get the best critique. Or maybe he was just bored and wanted to see what would happen. Haha, evil villain laugh. I don't know. His motives aren't really important to the story anyway, just that I would go on to give an extremely honest review of her work. Shauna was, of course, not comfortable with me being the one to lead the critique. She wasn't comfortable with me critiquing her previous story either, even when I wasn't the leader. She had figured out by that point that, despite being stupid, I was still a better writer than her, and was known for my thorough and honest critiques. Before I could even read it, she said, "You probably won't like my story because you don't like thinking." Like it was that deep, oh my god. Excuse me. She was also going for this schizophrenia angle with the narrating character, but she didn't include any symptoms of schizophrenia other than psychosis. Other than that, he read like a narcissist, so like her, basically. And honestly, I thought he was just trapped in a nightmare. It was hard to read because she had wrote it with this weird formality, like it was the Bible, and overused the auxiliary verb had. That is an auxiliary verb, right? I've been out of college for a long time. Anyway, in other words, it was like she transcribed her story from Latin, which was the foreign language she was taking, by the way. So I kind of get it, but anyway, her second story, the one I was critiquing, was not much better, unfortunately. I barely remember it because it wasn't very memorable, and again, I've been out of college for a long time. I don't remember this, but here's a little bit. It was written in this diary-like format, and it was in this conversational English, so it was a lot easier to read than her last one at least, but it didn't feel complete, really. It felt kind of like the middle of the story, like it could have gone on indefinitely from there, and I was missing an introduction. She also killed off the main character's cat for the climax, which was the only friend she had, but never explained why she was lonely to begin with. She was a soldier in the army and was always surrounded by other soldiers who acted like they were her friends, minus a few weird bullies if I remember correctly. So I was confused why she felt like she was alone to begin with. So it was kind of like Shauna just killed off the cat to cripple her character for no reason and didn't add anything to the story except maybe shock value, which I'm not a fan of that kind of writing. And I had a lot of other notes other than that, of course. And Shauna was not happy to hear them, and it gets worse, at least for Shauna. When we went around the class and everyone got to weigh in on it, they all They unanimously agreed with me. No one said anything to disagree with me. As a matter of fact, no one even had anything good to say it. Everybody hated it. Because, well, how could they not? She killed the cat. Of course people are gonna be pissed, you know? So after class, I was sure to tell her that I was harsh on her because, you know, it's what I would have wanted, and I knew she could handle it, air quotes. You know, trying my best to maintain this peace that was taken away from me the moment I was required to critique my narcissist roomie in front of the whole class for a grade. I mean, it was worth it because I got an A, but still, she was mad. But hey, at least she was quiet. She just said, I know, and smiled, probably a fake smile, I don't know, and avoided me for a few days. Well, shortly after, I was taking a mid-afternoon nap, and I woke up because I had a hard time breathing and I was dizzy. So I looked over, and there was this laundry basket filled to the brim with wet clothes that smelled like they were washed in like 20 scented Tide Pods. Now, I was pissed, obviously, because I don't like being woken up, and I don't like having vision problems, and I was wondering why that dolt would put that stink bomb between me and the door, fully knowing, or at least thinking, it would kill me. Then she comes in and sees me sitting up there in my bed awake and annoyed, and she was shooketh. I was like, hey, what is this doing here? You know I'm allergic to it. Thanks for waking me up. And she just immediately shot out this almost rehearsed sounding excuse that the dryer on our floor was unusable because the coin slot was jammed with a nickel. So she had set her clothes in our room temporarily, you know, right next to my bed. Rude. But I didn't confront her. I was just like, stick it in the laundry room. And then I went back to sleep. And later it hit me, because there were some very obvious holes. Some of them you might have already noticed. 1. The coin slot doesn't take nickels. Why would someone put a nickel in it, and at a strange angle, if not for her to purposefully jam it? 2. Why put the allergen next to my bed, let alone while I was asleep, and couldn't remove myself from this situation? 3. Why not use a dryer on one of the other floors? There were tons of other dryers. 4. Why were there like 3 loads worth of wet laundry in that basket, as if she could have fit it all into one dryer anyway? 5. Why did you buy scented Tide Pods knowing I was allergic? 6. Did she really intend to leave 3 loads of wet laundry to rot there and stink until someone fixed the coin slot in the dryer? It's been like 3 years, it's probably still broken. And 7. How did she accumulate that much laundry in that short amount of time? There was only one logical explanation. The dumb bitch was actually trying to murder me because my critique was too harsh. Petty much? I mean, come on, who is that sensitive? Grow a pair. Really, what an idiot. You can't kill me that easily. Not only can she not write for shit, she can't even murder someone properly. She really is talentless. Come on, Shauna, you can't be bad at everything. There has to be something you can do right to justify your existence. Maybe at least put some effort into your appearance so you're not such an eyesore. God knows a bright orange jumpsuit's not gonna look good on you. Anyway, I was fine, obviously. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't feel like calling the police over something that's stupid. I mean, obviously, she failed. So whatever. I just threatened to charge her with assault if it happened again, and, you know, after that she was a lot nicer to me. Surprise, surprise. The end. And maybe subscribe to my channel if that suits you. Follow the antagonists of Cry for the Devil for bonus content, book updates, and the occasional laugh. And support me on Patreon to join the effort in keeping me alive. Oh, and before I quit, P.S. Shauna eventually found out that I was just pretending to be stupid to avoid deep conversations. And yes, it hurt her fragile self-esteem that I was smarter than her, and it annoyed her to no end that I didn't do anything with my intelligence. I didn't even study or try. My grades were worse than hers. I roomed with her another semester after that. That's how few shits I gave. Anyway, let's cut this here. See ya.